Welcome to Tutor Expo 17. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you here this morning, and I look forward to a great day with you today and tomorrow. My name is Danny Pittaway. I am the Student Success Coordinator at Coastline Community College. And I also work with 3CSN, the California Community College Success Network. And 3CSN helps put on Tutor Expo. But this event is for you. It's to showcase the work that you do as tutors, SI leaders, as learning assistance professionals. Tutor Expo exists to shine a very bright light on the excellent work that we all do to help student success in the way of tutoring, SI, helping people get it done, making it happen, right? So I'd like to turn it over to my good friend and colleague, Dr. Mark Manassi.
It's only been 3 days, so it's still baby doctor. Thank you so much for coming. As I look around this room and I think about where we were just a few years ago when Danny, Crystal, and I, and we still can't figure out when exactly the moment was when we were like, maybe we should do something for tutoring. And now you're getting multiple emails from me saying, if you're not coming, could you please let me know? Because we need the spots. So it's amazing to me that we're at the point now that we are selling out months in advance and trying to get people in this room with us because we know we're in the front line. We are making a difference every day with our students, and we know the impact we make. We're not in the outskirts anymore. We're not on that room on the side of the campus because you got an A in the class. You're going to go tutor that person because you kind of know what you're doing. We know we're more than that. We're integral to student success. Students succeed because of the work we do every day, and we're getting better and better at that work. And we're learning all the time about how to keep improving. And this conference is a part of that. So this conference is of tutoring, by tutoring, for tutoring. And we're really excited to see the breakout sessions today and tomorrow. So thank you very much for coming. And now I will introduce longtime Dr. Crystal Keekle.
Thanks, Pierce. Yes, my name is Crystal Keekle. I am from Pierce College. I'm the Learning Assistance Coordinator for 3CSN, and I'm also the Director of the Center for Academic Success at Pierce College, obviously represented with this part of the audience here. So I'm going to kick us off with a couple of logistics and a couple of thank yous, and then I will introduce our morning speakers. First of all, logistics, in case you haven't found them, the restrooms are downstairs. The Wi-Fi is open. Oh, there's one up here too? Yes, okay, thank you, Vera. There's also some restrooms up here. The Wi-Fi is open. There's no password. It's just PCC campus, and then there's no password, which is lovely. The breakout sessions are across the way there. So let me start by asking this. Raise your hand if you have been to a conference before. Okay, all right, great. So if you have not been to a conference before, look around, do it again, raise your hand again, one more time. Yeah. Look around in the room, find somebody who has their hand up right now, and they can help mentor you through that. Thank you very much. You can put your hands down now. So this is all about mentorship. This is all about working together. This is all about building those communities of practice, so this is a good way to start. I will talk a little bit about how a conference works for those of you who have not been to a conference before, but then when you get lost, not if, but when, ask a friend and you can figure it out together. So the way the conference works is that you have a program here. That program has several breakout sessions. Those are concurrent sessions that are happening, concurrent meeting at the same time, right? So you pick the one that you want per time slot. Now you'll have a little bit of FOMO, it's fear of missing out, because you're going to want to go to 2 or 3, and that's part of the joy of putting on a Tutor Expo is everybody leaves just a little bit dissatisfied because they didn't go to everything that they wanted to go to. And that's how we keep you coming back every year, right? So pick the one that seems the juiciest and the coolest to you, and then you're going to go to that room and that room only. The rooms are located across this quad here in the C building on the 3rd floor. So if there aren't any signs on the bottom, we're trying to get some, But if not, just know that you go up to the 3rd floor. So which building is it in? Nice. What floor? 3rd. How many conference sessions do you get to go to per time slot? All right. We'll meet back, we'll come back together for lunch, and then at the end of the day, we're gonna come back together and we're gonna do some appreciations and some awards. So be sure to come back for that. There will be fabulous prizes. If anybody was at Tutor Expo last year, or if you're a Pierce College tutor, you know all about fabulous prizes. I've got some really special ones this year. So as you're going throughout the day, be thinking about who you're learning from, because this is a really important point, that learning happens on a lot of different levels. Sometimes you're learning from the person who's speaking up at the front of the room, yes, but you might also learn from people who are sharing out, maybe your colleagues, maybe when you're pairing up. Maybe you're learning something from the person next to you. Maybe you're having a conversation as you walk across the quad, or you sit down at lunch and meet a new person. Learning happens on all levels. So the way the fabulous prizes are going to work is this. At the end of the day, you're going to come back and think about somebody that you learned from today. And you don't have to know their name, but at the end of the day, we'll just ask you to stand up, point, if you don't know who they are, right? And then just tell us what you learned from that person, and then that person will be qualified for one of our fabulous prizes. Truly fabulous. So come around thinking about how to appreciate the people around you. How do I recognize the learning that happens at every level? Okay. So the last thing I wanted to do today before I announce our next speaker is I just wanted to thank you all, because I know that this is hard stuff, and this takes work at every level as well. So first I want to recognize everybody who got up before 6 a.m. So raise your hand if you got up before 6 a.m. Okay, keep your hands up. Did anybody get up before 5 a.m.? Oh my goodness, okay. Thank you. All right, so who got up before 4 a.m.? All right, okay, yes, all right. 3? All right. Who's still up from last night? Who just didn't get up? All right, so I want to recognize that that is a hard piece of time, and it's early in the morning, and it's far away from your home, and it's a long day, so I want to recognize and thank you for your contribution on every level. I absolutely want to thank my amazing colleagues, Dr. Mark, and I'm assuming soon to be Dr. Danny Pittaway? Yeah, all right. These are indefatigable people, and they are amazing, and we could never do this without them. I want to thank Pasadena City College. We got Miriam, Dr. Miriam Altunji over there. Okay. Logistics, we also have a slew of volunteers from Pasadena City College who are putting this together. They're all out volunteering, thank you. Also, Tito Altamirano. Tito is also downstairs doing stuff. When you see Tito, say hello to him, give him a hug. It'll be all awkward. He won't know why you're hugging him. It'll be great. I want to thank everybody who gave up their weekend and their Cesar Chavez Day to be here. I want to thank you if you stayed up all night to put this presentation together, if you gave up your weekends or your evenings to meet with people to put this presentation together. Our 3CSN and Chancellor colleagues who traveled far and early to be here. Just so many people worked so hard to put this together, and I just want to recognize that. And thank you all for making this one of the biggest 3CSN events ever, right? Which is awesome. We'll learn a little bit more about what 3CSN is and does tomorrow. And I also just want to thank you for making this one of the most inspirational moments of my year. So this will carry me over the next 12 months, all these faces. So thank you very, very much. So next, I would like to introduce Dr. Jessica Christou. She is our network director for the California Community College Success Network, and she is going to welcome us and tell us a little bit about how this fits in with 3CSN, maybe. I don't know what she's going to say. Maybe.
Good morning. Thank you for coming to Tutor Expo. And yes, I have notes on my phone, which started out with my name, so maybe I don't need to read that one. My name is Jessica Christou. I am the network director for 3CSN. 3CSN is the California Community College Success Network. And what we do is we provide professional learning to the California community colleges. And I have to say, the type of professional learning we do is great, and it's very focused on the faculty and the staff that serve you as students. But what's so great about LAP, the Learning Assistance Project, is that it focuses on the professionalization of student tutors, peer tutors. So it's exciting for me to be here. It's my first Tutor Expo. I had FOMO, I would hear about it all the time, like, oh, Tutor Expo. I live in Pasadena, so I literally, I woke up at 7:30. I know, it's so bad, I was just and our executive director, Dr. Deborah Harrington, couldn't be with us today, but she did remind me a couple of times how not only am I supposed to be here, I'm supposed to be here on time, and I have no excuse to not. I got here at 8:10, I'm very proud of myself, but I want to thank you so much for coming, and it's so great, like Crystal said, just to see so many students in the room. And this is an opportunity to learn from each other, and that's what conferences provide. You hear about some practices that you may want to take back to your campus with the students that you're tutoring, and I think it's great. And to welcome you also to Tutor Expo, we have Kirsten Corbin. She is the Dean of Basic Skills and Special Programs for our California Community College Chancellor's Office from Sacramento, so welcome, Kirsten.
Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to be here. So good morning. Thank you. And I'm going to do this in a couple more languages, and then you'll understand why in a little bit. So good morning. Bon matin. Dobry utro. Did that catch for you? Dobry utro. It's Russian, if you don't know. Guten Morgen. You know that one, yes? Okay. And then, of course, buenos dias. So, all right. So I want to talk a little bit about how I got here, not necessarily on a plane, but how I got in this position that I'm in. So when I first went to college, I was a language studies major. I focused on French and Russian. Those were my main languages that I learned. I took some German along the way. I actually never took Spanish. I know, it's really bad. I've grown up in California my whole life. But I think that's something that if you're really paying attention, it just kind of, you learn it through osmosis. But when I first went away to college, I was 17 when I went away to college, and it took me about 2 years to realize that I was way too young and I had no idea what I wanted to do, and so I left. And what did I do? I went to a community college to figure out what I wanted to do. And so that's when I decided to go into business administration. So I studied business administration. I went to San Francisco State University, go Gators. And I got my bachelor's degree in small business or entrepreneurial management. But my master's degree is in English composition. Yeah, right? So yes, you can, woohoo on the English composition. But for some of you, you might be sort of like, wait a minute, did she just say she went from a business degree to an English degree? Yeah, I did. So how did that happen? I cannot actually trace back to the day that I decided that I wanted to go into teaching, but I can trace back to the day what led me on the path that eventually got to teaching, and it had to do with tutoring. I was in an economics class, I was in a macroeconomics class, and I'd regularly participated in the class. Not very many other people did. I was also in my early 20s. And one day, my instructor at the end of class said, "Can I talk to you after class?" And I was like, okay. There's like 50 of us in there. I know he did not know my name when he asked me this. He just pointed. And so I talked to him, so I came up to him after class, and he said, "Are you interested in being a tutor for my class?" And I said, okay, sure. I mean, why not? And that's what led me to what eventually got me here. So I started out being a tutor, and it wasn't just one-on-one tutoring, which is what I thought it was going to be. It was actually a supplemental instruction program. It was an SI program. Woohoo! Yeah. Which meant that I wasn't just focusing on content, I was also making sure that my students, that my tutees actually were learning how to learn, in addition to learning the macroeconomic concepts. And so And that is huge. It is huge to being able to knowing how to help somebody learn. That is a lifelong skill, right? And it is a skill that you are going to use a lot because leaders help people learn. Leaders help people grow. And make no mistake, folks, you're leaders. Yeah, give a woohoo for yourself on that one. You are leaders. There's no way. I know. Some of you are like, I'm not a leader. Yes, you are. The sure fact that you are willing to help out your classmates, that you are willing to take your time to learn more, to be able to help them out, that makes you leaders. But helping people to grow, that is not an easy thing to do. It is a challenge. It is a challenge for us, but it's a good one. So I have a magnet. I have many magnets in my office. It's one of the few ways that I get to actually decorate it. Yeah, they don't let me paint my own office at the chancellor's office, but at the school that I came from, yeah, I painted those walls. So I have a magnet that says, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." Have any of you heard of this before? Yeah. But what I like to say is, I actually like to say, well, learning actually begins at the end of your comfort zone. And those really, they're entwined. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone because that's when learning takes place. It takes place when you're outside your comfort zone. On Monday, I start teaching, I'm going to start teaching a class, a speed reading class. And I always tell them, my job is to make you uncomfortable for the next several weeks. That is what my job is, because as soon as, the way that class works is it's with a computer program, and so we actually make them set their speed faster than what they came in reading at, and then their comprehension drops, and then it catches up, and then when it does, and they feel all good because they're reading faster, but they're understanding, I'm like, yeah, so now increase your words per minute by 100. And they're like, what? And so we spend several weeks doing that. But that's where the challenge happens. That's where some struggle happens. But that's the struggle. We want that struggle. Because that is literally, and I don't use that word flippantly, literally, the brain is making connections, right? We're learning a lot more about neurobiology, and it's really only when we are faced with challenges and that we're working through those challenges that your brain is making those connections between synapses. I know I can see those of you who are non-science people, you're like, or you're like, squirrel. But that is how that works. When it's something that's easy, the brain doesn't have to work. So there really isn't a whole lot of learning, if any, taking place. So but what we're supposed to do as educators, whether that's being tutors or instructors or whatever else, any other way that we're involved in education, our job is not to eliminate that challenge or that struggle. That's not what we're trying to do. Instead, our job is to help people through that struggle and to help them learn how to get through it so that they can do that on their own eventually. Which makes us puts all of us in a really interesting position, because in the end, we actually want our two T's, we actually want to be obsolete to them. Because we don't want them to be dependent on us anymore, right? We want them to grow so that they can do that on their own. So, but part of that challenge is that, we're givers. I love working with educators because I'm in a room full of givers. You give your time, you give so much, right? You give your knowledge of the subject, you give your expertise, whether that's with the college, with the class, with the instructor, with the subject, you give your time. You're spending 2 days at the end of what is really the longest month of the spring term. March, oh my gosh. And then, you try and you get a holiday at the end, right? So part of what we want to do is we want to give the answers, right? You're so tempted. There are times when you're just like, oh, because you can see you're so close. But that's not what we should be doing, right? And in fact, the greatest gift that we can give to the folks, the greatest gift that you can give to your tutees is not the answers. Instead, it's the independence for them to figure out the answers on their own. It's an appreciation of the challenge that they go through to get to those answers. It's the perseverance to get through that challenge, and it's the confidence that they will get through it. And if you help your tutees get to that point where they have those things, they have that independence, that appreciation, that perseverance, and that confidence, that is the growth that we're aiming for. Because those are the tools that are going to help those folks succeed in any situation, in any job, in any class, at any college. And that's what we're trying to do, right? That's our goal. So I want to make sure that I give Arnita plenty of time. I'm still going to give it to you. So in closing, I'm going to practice my foreign language a little bit more. So merci for your attention. Spasiba for being here. Danke for your enthusiasm. Gracias for your dedication. And overall, just thank you so much for everything that you do for our students. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you, Crystal, Mark, and Danny for the invitation. And I so look forward to seeing the sessions. And please give me, if you want to talk, chat with me, feel free. So thank you so much and enjoy the conference.
All right. Now I would like to introduce another one of our California Community College Success Network colleagues, Arnita Porter, who's fantastic. Hello, nice to see you. Arnita Porter is a network coordinator for the Los Angeles region. So for those of you who are in LACCD or surrounding colleges and you want to learn more about how to get involved with 3CSN, Arnita is the person to talk to. And she's also the coordinator for, or co-coordinator for, one of our newest communities of practice, one surrounding equity. So she's here to talk to us a little bit about how learning assistance, tutoring, SI, CET, all that kind of good stuff, is related to equity and how really you can't have one without the other. So please, take it away, Arnita.
Hey, y'all. What's up? Okay, help me out with this. Come on, y'all. We in? Over here? What we doing? Come on. So how's everybody doing? Yeah, y'all good? All right. So Kristen gave you these wonderful languages. The only other language that I speak is, I guess they characterize it as Ebonics. Like, what's up? What's up, y'all? I'm Southern, so maybe that's another language as well. I'm from North Carolina, so we got our own language. Y'all know, right? So I am happy to be here to spend this time with y'all. I'm going to make sure I pay attention to the clock so we can stay on schedule, right? First off, I just want to say thank you. Starting there, I just want to say thank you. You all do an amazing job, first of all. This relationship between the teacher and the student, or the tutor and the student, is very sacred. Y'all agree with that? Why is it sacred? Not all at once. Somebody help me out. Why do you think it's sacred? Personalized, okay. Trust, okay. There, yes. Vulnerability. What else? Okay. Growth, right? Anything else? Comfort. Is that what you said? Like, oh, okay, because I thought she said comfort food because I'm a little hungry, but but yes, that too. All of that, very important. adds to why this relationship is so sacred. So I know you all have seen this image probably 1,000 times, right? Everybody that talks about equity has people on boxes looking at a baseball game, right? Some kind of image that denotes the difference between equality and equity. Used to be diversity and equity. This image takes it a step further and talks about reality. Maybe not your reality, but maybe somebody else's reality. 9 times out of 10, we might be looking at some of the students that we engage with on a daily basis, right? Could be their reality in some form or fashion. I got a lot of slides, but I'm not going to go through all of them. I always prepare way too many slides, but I'm just going to jump to it really quick. So let's just take a quick snapshot of our system. 113 campuses, more than 2.1 million students. Over 67% are students of diverse ethnic backgrounds. Roughly 53% are female. So we're looking at what? Marginalized students, as we are characterizing us, who experience challenges and barriers that result in disparate course and degree completion rates and inequitable outcomes. That's why you all are so important, right? Does this kind of resemble who shows up for tutoring for you all, right? Okay. So, what is equity? What is equity? Besides what you see on the wall, what do you all think equity is? Like, don't read that, I can read that. What is equity? Yes. One more time, a little louder so everybody can hear you. Okay, she said giving the students what they need in order to realize their full potential, right? Right? Any other definitions? Yes. Treating all students equally. Huh. Unpack that for me, baby. Unpack that. So treating all students equally? Ah, okay. Watch this. Watch this.
Okay, that's better. So not having favorites in your class. So if you have a student that comes to your session, I'm an SI, so if you have a student that comes to your SI sessions more often in the classroom, you're not going to treat them differently than someone that doesn't have the time to come to sessions, because some other students might think that they're like, I want to come to your session, but I work, I have kids, so they just can't. So you treat them equally.
Okay, okay. Thank you for unpacking that. Yes.
Okay, I'm stealing this like I steal everything that I know.
Hold on. You're stealing my mic.
I'm stealing your mic too.
Stealing my mic.
Anyway, I was very, very fortunate to be part of a group that explained equity in this way. All of us need a set. Well, all of us need some shoes. Okay, so I run down the store and I'm just going to buy everybody a pair of shoes, same color, same size, same everything, and I'm going to pass them out. And man, everybody got a pair of shoes. Okay, so there you go. But half or most of you won't be able to wear those shoes because they don't fit. And so equity is about getting you the right size shoe so that everybody has a pair of shoes and they fit.
Nice. I prefer stilettos. Cute shoes. I like cute shoes.
I like to think that equity is about the colleges choosing to expand their definition of what they are so that students don't have to constrict their definition of who they are.
All right, y'all. Did I see somebody else over here?
it's not about a cookie cutter approach. It's meeting each student's needs individually. As a tutor, we have to treat each student individually. What are their specific needs rather than this is how we're going to do it for everybody.
Nice. Yes. Okay.
I think that equity is giving students everything that they need to fulfill everything that they don't have.
Nice.
Create a balance.
Nice. Thank you. All right. This side is jamming. I don't know what's wrong with y'all and your definitions of equity. Okay. That side is jamming. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right, y'all. Maybe next go round, y'all can jump in and show us you know something. I'm just joking. So, yes, all of that, right? That's what we're dealing with when we're talking about equity. Educational and institutional equity, you all touched on that as well. Educators providing the students with what they need, the individual support that they need. And with respect to the institutions, right, making sure that the policies and the practices and the processes guarantee that educators provide everyone with what they need. So we need to have the institutional approach, right, to make sure that equity is carried out throughout the entire system. So, as far as I'm concerned, tutoring is equity in practice. Does that make sense? Does that work? Yeah. So what you all do is equity. Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you for it. I want to just take a quick moment and talk to you about a specific student named Crystal from West. She was preparing a video. Video didn't quite work out. Maybe next time. But Crystal used to deal with math anxiety. Right? Crystal would see Professor Russell over here. She would come into our program, Project Learn at West Los Angeles College, for tutoring, for math tutoring. She'd taken it 3 times. She had taken math, the 105, I think it is, 3 times. She was on her 3rd try, right? And finally one day, she expressed to Professor Russell over here that she actually would break out in hives. She would break out in a sweat. She would get very nervous. She couldn't think. Things on the board started going squiggly for her. She just could not deal with math. And he opened up her mind, right? As he opened up his heart to her and expressed that, oh, it's math anxiety. That's all it is. We can work with that. She didn't have the language for it. She just knew that she couldn't do it. She just knew that she felt stupid, and these are her words. She felt like a failure. She felt like everyone that she spoke with about it considered her to be a failure, and she was hiding the fact that she did not know her multiplication tables. She was hiding that all these years. Professor Russell here, who was running the tutoring center at West Los Angeles and also working as a mentor, a faculty mentor in Project Learn, helped her through that process. And so today, Crystal has been accepted to 5 different 4-year institutions. She got a B in statistics on her first time out. Woo woo. Right? And she went on a trip to China because she's interested in culinary arts. And so she started a catering business. I mean, she is thriving. And she looks back at that very defining moment when he said, "You can do it, and I am going to help you do it." And I just want to say that you all may not know all of the stories of all of the students that you touch, but trust me, there are defining moments like that, that students look at and see your face and know that when they were at their most vulnerable moments, that you were the ones who helped them get over those challenges, those fears, those issues, those barriers, whether they be institutional, whether they be personal. But you all do the work every day to help students get to where they're able to forward their lives. And on behalf of Crystal and so many other students that I know who come to you all hoping to one day be where you all are, I just want to say thank you. Great job. So again, I got a lot of slides. I'm going to just let them slide on by, not even going to worry about it. But I just want to say that I do a lot of work in culturally responsive teaching and learning, those types of practices, and equity. To me, culturally responsive teaching and learning is at the foundation of equity, because we need to be culturally aware, we need to be conscious, we need to be conscientious, we need to open up our hearts, and that's what you all do. But I encourage you to attend some of these great threads. Well, I know you'll be attending all of them, but there are some in particular that I would ask that you consider attending in order to deepen your awareness and to deepen your practice as equity practitioners and professionals, because that's what you are. So if we're looking at habits of mind, growth mindset, culturally responsive tutoring, reading apprenticeship, these are all, ESL tutoring, these are all, it's equity in practice, right? So consider that, deepen your practice, become more aware, but more importantly, take care of yourselves. We forget about ourselves when we do this work, and it's important that we remember. I need like a pop screen. Y'all know what those pop screens are on the? I'm an artist, so sometimes we need that barrier to keep you from popping on the mic. But I think it's important for you to take care of yourselves, for us to take care of ourselves. However you do it, if it's yoga, if it's running, if it's poetry, if it's cooking, if it's wine, because Lord knows sometimes I get home and I'm like, where is the bottle, not the glass? Woo! But I just really want to encourage you to make sure as you're taking care of others that you do the work, you don't forget about yourselves and you take care of yourselves. That's all I got to say. It's been lovely. Can't wait to come back. Have a great conference. And I finished on time. Woo!
It's not what I expected to happen. Thank you so much. Can we give her another hand while I'm giving her a hug? All right, so I know a lot of you have to set up sessions. A lot of you need a couple extra minutes to get lost because you're like me and you need to have that extra cushion because you know you're going to turn the wrong direction. There's still coffee, pastries downstairs. Use your restroom. Are there any questions about how this works before we release you? Okay, well in that case, go learn stuff. I'll see you at lunch. Bye, everybody. Woo!